Welcome back to the E3 Extravaganza. D-Dub here, and today we are looking at Nintendo's Treehouse footage for Animal Crossing on the Nintendo Switch. I've looked at a little bit of it so far, and so far it looks pretty good. It's too bad that this game got delayed a little bit. They've had long enough. I don't know what they've been doing this whole time. But, it'll end up just being a better game for it, hopefully.
So, one of the reasons
I'm wondering now if they're doing this kind of on purpose and just trying to seemingly fill a big gap like a holiday with a big game, and then trying to come up with these other ones to replace that when that doesn't come up. Like, imagine if Smash had gotten delayed to say just like 2 or 3 months ago. Like, you wouldn't have had this giant holiday. You would have had, like in January, you would have had new Super Mario Brothers Wii to buy, and for holiday of last year you wouldn't really have had much to buy, because Smash was the biggest game for that whole like 4-month chunk from like October to February. February is when new Super Mario Brothers U came out.
We were able to give them that opportunity to build everything from scratch. We thought that would be a great experience.
Awesome, and I know folks have been waiting a long time to get a chance to look at this title, so why don't we hop right into the game and give folks a look.
Animal Crossing New Horizons. I don't know if I like the name. I think they could have just called it Animal Crossing, and it would have just been Animal Crossing Switch. Because now going forward, it's kind of like, people that don't know the name New Leaf, you kind of just call it like Animal Crossing 3DS, and this is Animal Crossing Switch. So I did see some of this, and I saw earlier in the reveal when the girl was like at the workbench building, and then afterwards it showed Tom Nook, and he was saying, here's your grand total for your house, and he handed her like the Nook phone, or he said, here's your total bill, and like, here's your Nook phone. And that's one of my predictions that I had in my video, which if you haven't seen it, maybe check it out. I guess it doesn't really matter now, although there will be more predictions videos, because we're only going to be seeing so much of this now. And so yeah, the phone thing kind of came true, and I'm guessing that's going to be to connect with other friends. Hopefully that phone sort of replaces the app that we would have on our real phones, and if you have friends online that are playing Animal Crossing, you can hopefully seamlessly connect with them and actually message them for once, and then just be able to jump in and out of games like that instead of having to download the app, which, that phone app. I don't know anybody that uses it. I haven't looked at it in probably 4 months. But I know here they mention we're only using the bare minimum of what they were allowed to actually use to show off the game. But one of the things I'm noticing is that, yeah, this is HD, her hair is shining, and it's Animal Crossing, but when you look at like the first one, and then to Wild World, and then from that to like City Folk, kind of the look of everything, and mostly the characters, because those are what you see the most of, kind of just the way they walk, and kind of like the shape of their head, and even their arms and things like that. Those seem to look more differentiated between the games. And I'm noticing this game, at least from this footage here, it really does just look like the 3DS, but upscaled to 3D, because realistically, if you took New Leaf and then basically just put it on something else that wasn't the 3DS and didn't touch it, I think it would look, sort of close to this. It wouldn't be HD, but it wouldn't be as pixely on a 240p screen. I think if they just put New Leaf straight onto the Switch with no work, it would be somewhere around maybe like 4 something p, like 460p or whatever, and I think it would look a little bit similar, because even here you can see kind of her hair hair. You know, when she's just bobbing, like you do see the pixels, and even up here around the trees, like you see the pixels, and
tent itself. You're able to
I kind of have this small worry that it's not a rush job. I mean, obviously this is an early build, you know, more is going to be done to it, and I'm hoping by the time we actually see it, that this build ends up being, you know, from 6 months ago, so by the time it actually comes out, that this demo here is like a year old and it's more polished. But honestly, at this point, I almost want to say, even on a smaller screen, you know, for phone, but I almost want to say that Pocket Camp, just the people themselves look cleaner, like less pixelated, just around the head and, you know, the hands, and like even like I'm saying, like the trees, when it kind of zooms back out of the demo and you can see the lines of the trees moving.
I think I want to make that as a goal, and then start doing that right now.
Sounds great.
今これたぬきちから最初に支給されたスマホなんですけど、その中に
So that's cool that you can call villagers and basically get them to come over to you.
この中から作るものを
And
決め
you
たい
know
と
that
思い
this
ま
is
す。
like the menu
So this is
system
a
for
smartphone
putting your stuff
called
outside,
New
which,
Phone that I got
you know,
from
Score,
Comnet.
you can
And
actually
then
put
there's a
furniture
DIY
outside,
recipes
which
app. So
after
I'm going
so
to browse
long, it's
around
like
and
that
look for something that I
finally
wanna
just
make.
makes so much
で
sense.
DIY はこの道具ですとか家具ですとか、島で取れるいろんな材料を使っていろんなバリエーションのものが作ることができます。
And then these DIY recipes include everything from tools to furnitures, and you can use a lot of the materials that you can find around the island.
ちなみに雑
So
草
that's
とか
cool.
今
I
無
had
人
seen in
島
the
で
trailer like
草
the
だらけ
fire
なんですけ
barrel,
ど
and it
雑
looked
草を
like she
使
was
った
boiling water,
DIY なんかもあり
along
ま
with
す。
having the clothesline and your clothesline out,
since
your
we came
clothes
to a
out to
deserted
dry.
island, there's a lot of weeds growing around on the island, but those things can also become a material to create something.
じゃあ今ベンチを飾
That's
って
interesting.
座れるようにしたいなと思うんで、この
I
ルーム
gotta
ベ
say,
ンチ
after
を
seeing
作
this, I
ろう
guess
と
I'm
思うんです
not
けど、
really as
木材
pumped
を
for it.
取
I'm
る
still
必要
gonna
があ
get
る
it
の
and
で、
play
ま
it,
ずは木材を
but
取るため
hopefully,
にこの斧を作ってい
you
きた
know,
いと
when
思
we
い
get
ます。
like a
So
February
I wanna make this
direct
log
and they
bench,
really
but in
give
order to
this
make the
game
log
like
bench,
its
I
full
need some
blowout a
hardwood.
couple months before
So,
it comes
I
out.
am going to first make this axe.
Hopefully that'll
So I
get me
wonder
a
if,
little
as
bit
we're
more
looking around
pumped
here,
up.
can we just take a look at the up in the sky, because it really is a beautiful day.
But honestly, I think I would have rather them skip revealing it at E3 altogether and just having an Animal Crossing Direct, because there were so many other things that took away from
I think
each
a lot of
other,
the Animal
that it was
Crossing,
just this
fans
giant
already know
tsunami
this,
of
but,
hype
the
and new
game
stuff
clock
and
is actually,
learning new stuff and getting all
linked
these
to the
release
real
dates and
time.
figuring
So,
out what
the
games come out
seasons
when
and the time of
and
the
what
day,
games are like more
it
next to
is-
each other.
It changes
that,
according to the
It
the
was
clock
kind
that
of
you
like
live in.
overload.
今まで北半球の季節に
Like
しか
it really
対応していな
was. It
か
was
ったんですけども
overloaded.
今回南半球の季節も選択できるようになりました
And until the previous titles, we only had the game set in northern hemisphere, but from
That's right, there's
New Horizons,
hemispheres.
We have a southern hemisphere as well, so the users can play in the southern hemisphere atmosphere as well.
まあこれ
Which I guess doesn't make too big of a difference. It's kind of like instead of setting your internal calendar when it's November and setting it back to
since
July,
it is
if you
June
want to have
and
summer
it's
all
set to
year round,
June
I
in
guess you
northern
could
hemisphere, but
maybe
if you
just
have it set to
flip-flop
southern hemisphere,
between
then
'em.
it'll be in winter.
It's really cool, I think, being able
Which
to
I
give
hope
players that
there's like
flexibility.
a-
So if you live in the southern hemisphere,
better way
and
of
you
like
want the
time
seasons
traveling
and
where
things,
it
the weather
doesn't
to kinda
mess
match
up
more
as
of
much
what you're
stuff,
experiencing in
or
real
that
life,
when you come
you
back
can have that choice.
from a
And,
time travel,
we
it
got lucky there, I
accidentally
think, that the
isn't
weather is so
like
good for the stream, because you never know what's going to happen in Animal Crossing weather-wise.
you
but
accidentally turned and
looks gorgeous.
went back like a year or forward a
斧の
year,
材料が揃ったんで、
where
では
there's
次
just
DIY
weeds
を
and
してみ
just
たい
like
と思
kind
い
of
ます。
crap
ただ
everywhere, and
私
people
は
are like,
作
how
業
long
台を
have you
今
been
持って
gone?
ない
Like I
の
haven't
で、
seen you in
作業
you know
台を
3
貸してもらえる
years.
場所にご案
So I
内し
did
ます。
that on
So now that I
accident
have
before,
all the
and
materials for
then
Flimsy Axe,
a
I'm
bunch of
gonna
my
go
villagers were
somewhere
gone
where
because
they're
of
gonna
an
let me do
accidental
this for
time
free.
travel.
これたぬきちたちの案内所になっています。住民の生活をサポートしてくれ
Let's
る
craft, and this is,
すごく便利な場所になっています。
So this is the
little
resident
crafting
service
sequence
area
from
by
the,
Nook Inc.
from
And
the
then they
trailer.
support all the residents on the island with their lives.
I love how proud they are of your accomplishments.
And it's like, I do think
I
it
feel like
looks
Tom Nook's
good,
always
but you
proud of
look
you.
at like her
ちなみ
legs
に
there,
他にも、この案内所には
and it's like, it
こ
is
の位置だったら
HD, but it's still a
こう
little
何かいら
fuzzy
ない
around
もの
the
を買い取ってく
edges.
れたりですとか
So other functions of the resident service, Timmy
But I
would
can't wait to see
buy
it
something that you don't need
on the
in the
Switch's
inventory.
screen.
雑草も買い取ってもらえるので
I haven't actually looked at it
あ
yet,
の
but
そ
I'm
のまん
curious to
ま
see
ワイ
what
ル
the
ドなフ
trailer
ィールド
looks
楽
like
し
on
み
the
たい方
Switch.
は
I
そのまま
actually,
にしていただいてもいいです
I'm
し
just thinking
あの
about
綺麗
that
にしたい
now,
方
so
は
I'll
草
be
をむし
doing
って
that.
ここで買い取ってもらうといいと思います
So we've mentioned weeds on the island earlier.
And I
but,
was sort of watching
if
some of
you
this
want to
earlier.
clean it up, then you can clean them up
But
and then
it's
sell
just
it to Timmy.
been a
Or,
busy
you
day,
can
and this
choose
is
to
like
leave
the
'em as
super
well,
E3
because, I mean,
extravaganza.
why
Like,
not,
what's
right?
I kind
Nintendo
of like it. It
doing?
matches the rustic
Everybody's-
setting. You're on a deserted island,
Oh
having
my
it look a little
God.
wild is kind of cool.
In
I
contrast,
do gotta
picked
buy
every
the
weed.
Secret of Mana collection and get
でもち
get
ろん
on
ちょっ
playing
とした
that.
買い
Well,
物
as you can see, you can do a little shopping here too, and then you have the option to buy the tools, purchase the tools here as well. But I mean, you can basically you'll have that freedom of whether if you want to buy them or if you want to collect the materials on the island and then make it yourself.
でちなみにこのたぬき市のこの案内所でもう一つ特徴的な
Nook
新しい
Miles. Let's see what that's
機能がありますでそれがこの
Go
ヌ
ahead,
ーク
click
マ
on
イレー
it.
ジになります
So one of the new functions here is Nook mileage, Nook miles.
でこのヌークマイルというのは、実際のマイルのように例えば今回お出かけ飛行機に乗ってお出かけするんですけど、その飛行機に乗ったりですか、そのショッピングをしたりとか、今この斧を実際作ってこのように DIY ツールを作ったことに応じてとか、島で過ごしていろんな体験に対してマイルをもらうことができます。
So Nook Mile kind of works like the actual and these miles, you'll be able to exchange them for items and other activities. So it's a new way of enjoying the game.
It is really nice that it feels like you can progress doing any kind of activity that you enjoy in
Right.
Animal Crossing. On top of it just being a fun way for you to relax, you're making progress in the game. You're having a chance to earn some of those rewards.
And you can earn those rewards
That's
for
cool.
doing things that you didn't always earn rewards for before.
I do like how when
even
you
just
stop
picking weeds.
and it shows
sure,
the
it made
town
your
map at
area
the
more
bottom.
beautiful, but it didn't really give
I'm
you anything
guessing you
else.
can,
but now you can earn miles for that and use
Maybe
them for
change
stuff.
that to be on
じゃあ
permanently.
斧も手に入ったこと
Because it
な
would
ん
be
で
cool
木
to
材を
add
集め
like
ていき
a
たいと
couple
思
more
います
things to like
Since
the
I
HUD.
now
Because
have the
before
flimsy
we
axe, I think I'm gonna
only
start
had where
collecting
when you
hardwood.
stand still it
And here we
shows the
can see just the
clock.
variety.
So having the
Collecting
world
things
map,
has always
that's
been
kind of
part of
cool.
Animal Crossing, but there's so many different types of collectible crafting materials now. Even looking at the wood that you're chopping there, every time you pick something up, you're going to wonder, okay, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to make with this next?
でこうやって斧を使って木から木材を切り出すこと
I wonder
が
how
でき
big
る
the
んです
map
け
is
ども
actually
ちょっ
gonna
と
be.
今
'Cause it
今
seems
回
like
時間も限られてい
they're
る
showing
中で
gameplay,
木材
but
を集める
they're
の
kind
が
of
大変なんで今から
restricting,
ちょっと野上さんに手
you
伝
know,
っても
what
ら
they
おうと
actually
思います
reveal, which
So as you
is,
can
you
see, I
know,
can use this
kind of what they
flimsy
do.
axe to collect hardwood.
And that's all right.
But,
We'll see more
since we have a
later.
limited
But for now,
amount of
this
time
is
today,
it's
and
interesting
there's
to
a lot
see.
of hardwood to collect.
And I'm still looking
I think I'm
forward
going
to
to
this
recruit
game.
Mr. Nogami here and have him help me out.
Right on.
どのようにするかと言い
See,
ま
I
す
was
と
wondering
今
what-
コールアイランダーというア
I
プ
was
リを
wondering
使
if
う
that
と
would
同
be
じ
like an
島で
issue
住
or
んでる
not.
住
Like,
人同士で一緒にプレイすること
I
ができる
figured
よう
by
にな
the
り
time
ます
this actually comes
So,
out, you'll have to
this is
start
how I'm
your
gonna do
town
this.
or whatever
On the
in
Nook
the
phone,
middle of
there's
winter
an
if you set your
application
clock
called,
accordingly.
Call an Islander, and then
Max!
you'll be able to call another resident.
I was figuring
on
you
the
would have to
island
set your
and
time
then play together.
accordingly.
So since Nogami-san has a house on this island as well, he can come
I was
oh,
figuring
and
you would
help
have to
out.
set your
Oh,
time
I love
according
your
to,
outfit. That's awesome.
you know, if you wanted it
Looks
to
very
be
appropriate for a squid
Right,
researcher.
summer when you started
I
playing,
don't know
and this
why
came
I'm
out
wearing this outfit,
in,
but
you know, this
alright.
November,
It's a good look.
December. You would have to
こ
put
のようにそ
it
のジョイコンを素揚げして
behind
同じ
or
住
ahead,
民同士で遊べ
and
る
then
というのは実は
basically
動物の森シリ
play
ー
out
ズ
of
では初
season
め
until
て
you
の
could
体験
maybe
に
get
な
to
り
a
ます
point where you
So,
sync it up
actually,
eventually
to be
or
able to
sync it
play
up
with
again.
your friend or family by
So I was
sharing
figuring
your
it might not be the
Joy-Con,
best idea to have
controllers
this
is,
launch,
something that's very
you know,
new to
in the
Animal
winter,
Crossing
right at the
franchise.
start of winter. So I
今
guess
こうや
maybe
って
that's
一緒
one
にやるこ
more
とでこう木材
small
集めな
point
ども
for
はかど
the
るので
pros of it
今までだった
being
らこう一
delayed
人
is
ず
that,
つ
you know,
別々に遊
it'll
んで
come out in
見てい
March,
るしかできなかった時間差で
and
もちろん
that'll
楽
be
しんでい
when
ただ
all
く
your
こともで
stuff
きるんですけど、
starts to
今回こうやって
grow
同時
when you
に
start
遊
cleaning
んでい
everything
ただ
up,
くことができます。
getting ready
So
for,
in the
you know,
previous
the end of
titles,
spring,
of course,
beginning
you
of
were
summer.
able to watch each other play and then have fun that way. But with New Horizons, you're able to play together and then cooperate in sense. And then so it's basically a whole new way of playing together.
And just as you're collecting this material here, looking at the wind blowing through the trees, the graphics, it's really just beautiful to watch, but I'm also really drawn to the sound effects here. Nagami-san, can you talk to us a little bit about the sound design for this game?
そうですね。今回のニューホライズン
Sound
では
design.
よりこうユーザ
See, I
ー
do
の
like
お客さんにはこの没入
the
体験を楽しんでいた
multiplayer,
だくため
like
に
instead of
いろい
having
ろ
to
な工夫をし
open
てい
your
ます。
gates.
So there's
Because
a
that
lot
kind of
of,
became
things
a
that we've
hassle.
experimented and then we've tried out for
Which
the
even now
users
without
to have that
chat,
immersive feeling when they're playing
Or
this
I guess
game.
even with chat, you know, playing on the 3DS, like, unless you actually have friends to play with, you know, I've seen like some Facebook groups and stuff, and I have some friends that are at, and occasionally they'll do like raids, and they've hacked their game, and they have millions
in
of
order to
bells
achieve
laying
that from
around,
a
and all
sound
sorts of,
perspective,
you know, black
we
roses and
adapted
like
this,
rare
technique called
flowers that you
Foley
don't see every
recording.
day, and all
And
this
then,
different like,
what it
you know,
essentially
rare
does is,
patterns or
record a natural
clothing
sound and
designs,
use
and
it
they'll
as a
say,
sound
hey, I'm
effect,
opening my gates
in
at
the
this
game.
time, and
So,
if you're friends with them, and then you see their
sometimes
alert
walk
on like the
on
Facebook
sand-
group,
sand
then you,
to get that
you know,
sound, or
go into your
got some-
DS
cut some
and
grass from around the
join their
office and
game
then
or
walked on
go
it
to
get
their
that
gates,
sound.
and it just becomes like this giant hassle just to get somebody into your town or go to somebody else's town if you don't actually know the person.
現実の空気もちょっと再現しようとしています。
And then another thing that you
So I
probably
guess this has
noticed
never
is that
been
the
the
leaves on
best
the trees
multiplayer
are
game.
kind of moving.
Yeah.
And
'Cause you're
then,
not really playing-
This is actually expressing the wind
It's
on
a
the
one-player
island.
experience,
So
you know,
depending
you're
on
not
how
really
strong the
playing
wind is
together, you're not
blowing,
really
some of them
accomplishing
sway a little
anything
bit harder.
together.
And the sound of the wind is really beautiful too.
Although
it's
maybe in
very
this one you
relaxing and
can, and you
immersive.
can play 2 players and
じゃあ
maybe
ベン
actually
チが
get
そう
something
言ってる
done,
間に出
but
来上
it
がっ
just
たん
would
です
seem
けどちょっ
impossible
とま
without
だ
2
これ以降
switches.
だけでは寂しいの
Like
で
even
も
here
う
they're
一個
both
何
on
か
the
作
same
ってみたいと
screen.
思います
So
I guess you can
now
only go
I
so
have a
far
bench,
out of the
but,
screen if
just
someone
having
else
a
stops
single
to do
furniture is a little
something.
bit sad, so I think I'm gonna make something else. too.
Kind of defeats the purpose
そうですね。
a little
僕が
bit.
キャンプファイヤー
I'm
を持って
noticing
いるので、そ
when
のちょっと
looking at the
大きいバンド
gameplay, I
ファイヤー
can't
を
help
持ってみ
but
ましょう
see
か。
New Leaf.
So since I already have a
You know, like they
campfire, why don't
basically
we
just
make
pulled
a
the sheet,
bonfire? Sound looks
you
a
know,
little
the
bit
screen
bigger
door
and more
effect
fun.
off
ボン
of
ファイヤー
the
はキャンプファ
3DS's
イヤー
screen.
と木材を使って
when
作る
in
こ
the
とができます
render-
でこのように何か
In
DIY
the
で
actual
作った
render
家具を
of the
使って
reveal
さらに
trailer,
作るというよう
definitely
な
looked
DIY も
way
あります
smoother, way more
So
colorful.
bonfire, you'll be able to
Way
make
more
that with
colorful, I
some
think.
wood and a campfire, which is an item. There are items where you will need another item to create. So there's a lot of variety in these recipes.
じゃあちょっと野上さんに交代
See,
し
one
ま
thing I
す
also wished
So I'm
for
gonna
is that
change the leader
the
to
world
Mr.
wouldn't be so
Nogami.
cylindrical.
このように
So you can see
今
when they move
誰
to
が
and
リー
from,
ダーで
you
そ
know,
の誰に
it's
付き添ってプレイしてい
cylindrical. I
る
was
かっていう
hoping it
の
would
が
be
分かるようになってい
more
ます
flat so that if
As you
someone's
can
up
see,
over the hill
there's a
by
little
like
flag
this,
on top of Mr.
these couple
Nogami's
trees
head,
that are way
and
in the
then that shows that
background,
he's the leader,
that it
and
would be
then,
flat
you'll
enough
be
that you
able
could
to
actually
tell
see
who
him
will
over
be
there.
leading that gameplay.
And, you know, that's something like the original game had where it was more flat, a little bit more overhead,
I don't know
which
why
I do
have
like
a
it being
square,
less
but I always have it in
overhead,
my
but
pocket.
not, I don't really like the cylindrical world. I mean, that worked for 3DS, but I kind of wish they did away with that,
この
just so that you could see further into the distance.
Okay, so since I already
I
have a
believe they were
campfire,
talking about at one point the camera
I'm gonna
being
pick up the wood,
free.
and then I'm gonna go craft a
I
bonfire
think I heard that, or
on the
maybe I've just
workbench.
gone crazy
That's
and
one
I
of the
just
things
made
really
that up.
wonderful here for the first time in the Animal Crossing series, being able to play
And I'm not
side by
thinking
side
of
at the same time
Pokemon
with other folks who live on your island. This
either.
idea that you can have your different inventories, swap back and forth who's in charge, and then take advantage of that. You can actually have up to 8 players living on a single island, and 4 of them can play together this way just by sharing Joy-Con on a single system. So if you've got someone in your family, their thing is, I just really like collecting this material or that material, you can kind of share the load a little bit as you work on your island and then come
See,
play
that's
together.
questionable.
You're all enjoying the experience at the same
4
time. And
Joy-Cons.
you're taking turns and trading and making these much bigger crafting projects.
Between
But
4
on top
people
of
on
that,
one
with the folks
screen.
on your island, there's also local wireless and online multiplayer that we're going to be able to talk about hopefully more later on. But with that, it can be 8 people all gathering on a single player's island to have the same kind of fun activity side by side.
See, that can be cool.
Yeah, the trailer in the Nintendo Direct.
She did just
you
say
saw that
local
scene
and
at the
online
very end with
multiplayer.
all the different players there. That was actually made using that feature.
So that makes sense. That's cool.
じゃあちょっと
If you had
ボンファイアでき
seven
ましたので
friends,
ちょうど写真を撮るのにいいロケー
and
ション
I
を
guess
探
the
しに行
local
きます
co-op would be you can all get together and play on the same island. I'm wondering how big this island is and how different your island
ボ
can
ンフ
be.
ァイアを置きます
So since
また間違えた
Because I thought the island idea was okay. I wish that would be a separate thing. Like, I wish they would scale this game up in size. I wish you
since
could
we
have
now a
multiple
bonfire,
villages
we hunted a location. Miss
where
Kyoto
there's like
hunted
a mini
location,
game or something
and
in
then
between, and
decided
not
that,
just like
around the
Pocket
10th
Camp
will
where you
probably
just
be
get
the
in the
best
RV
place.
and then it's
And
just,
then so
you know,
they're gonna
a loading
decorate this
screen and
area.
then you show
And
up
then,
elsewhere.
Miss Kyoko
But
also mentioned that
maybe like some paths separating, kind of like a little bit like
there's a
Pokemon
place
where,
an item and
you
drop
know,
an
maybe
item,
there's like different
option. And then
species
the
of stuff to
players
catch,
would,
and
be
you kind of
able
run
to
along a
choose
path
whether
with
they
like
want
a
to
river
place
and
the
there's different
furniture,
fish you can
like,
catch at
decorate
different
the furniture,
times, like
or
rare
just,
ones.
place the leaf.
And you
It
would
is
have
really incredible. It
maybe
opens up
different
your entire
friends in
island,
different
really, the same way you
villages where they're
decorated your house.
segmented,
You're gonna be able
but
to
that
put
there's
stuff in
a
so
big
many
enough
interesting
gap
places and really
between
make your
them
island feel like
that
your
they're
own.
actually distant to where, you know, a thing like a phone, you could like get a hold of them or have them come visit you, or actually sending mail would
Okay, since
make
we
more
have the
sense
location and we
than
have everything set up, I think
I
I'm gonna
live
take a
here
photo.
and this guy lives here, and then I go all the way over here to the post office to mail him a letter. Like, that's just never made any sense to me.
So of course you'll be able to use the switch function, the switch camera to take a photo. But we also have a camera app on the Nook phone.
That's
この
cool.
カメラを使っていただくことでズーム機能
Yeah,
だったり
different
こういう
filters,
フィル
different
ター機能っていう
zoomability.
のもあってなんかより自由な撮影を楽しんでいただけます。
And
You
by
know,
using this
similar
camera app,
to
you're able
waiting for
to
the
select,
Animal Crossing logo
filters
to pop
or
up.
zoom
You
in
know,
and out.
similar to
And then so
Smash,
you'll be able
similar to
take,
Mario Odyssey.
Photos that,
Which,
that
by
you
the way, I'm not
desire,
complaining.
that-
I like
that you can
those.
decorate a little bit more and
They're
have more
useful
freedom
when you first
Nice way to
start
commemorate
playing
a
with
big
it. Later
project,
on,
or
it's
we've
kind
got
of
a
like
bunch of
whatever,
friends hanging
but
out with you,
it's
take a
cool
little
to
group photo.
have.
じゃあこのちょっとポーズも決めて写真を撮ってみたいと思い
This
ます
is。also
Okay, I
interesting,
think
having
I'm gonna-
different
I'm gonna
greetings,
strike a pose
like
and then
having a
take this
fire. It
photo.
seems
And something that folks
kind of
maybe
like
at the
these
very
things
sharp
you
eye
don't
are
really
noticing,
need
there's
the
a little
island
sort of
for,
spout that's coming out of the sand not too far
Yeah.
from you.
but
We can't
you
really show
know,
this too much yet, but
amiibos are
there's
dying. I'm
actually,
wondering if that's going to
clams
be
living
any
on the
type
beach, and
of
if you dig those up,
usability
you
in
can
this game,
craft
or even if it
fishing
is,
bait
it's kind of just
using
a
clams.
small
So
little,
worthwhile
you know, half
keeping
of
that
a
in mind if you're really
percent.
into
Like you
fishing.
can
That's
use
gonna
a
be a lot of
couple
fun
to
for
do
folks
some
who,
things, and
want to catch some really cool
it
fish
really
too.
seems.
今この辺りに
You
い
know,
ましたよね。
Oh,
ここ
did you-
ら
Smash
I
Brothers
saw some
uses them,
spout
but
coming
they
out
didn't really
here.
Oh, nice.
tout
Got
that
it.
as like a big component of it. And then since Smash came out, they haven't really
ね
said
この
it,
ように
but I've noticed
リアルレシ
around
ピって
my
いうのは
Target, which
例
they
えば
got
動
rid
物
of
から教えてもら
amiibos.
った
I
りと
don't
か
know why they
何
just
か
don't
そ
sell them
のア
anymore,
イテ
but
ムを手
I
に
was
入れ
at
たことが
GameStop
きっかけで
today,
ひらめい
and
た
I
り
did
とか
see
買
the
ったりとか、いろんな手
Yoshi
段で
Woolly,
DIY レシピは
the,
増え
the
ていき
wool
ます。
Yoshi. I saw
So
like
DIY
3 of them. There was
recipes,
like
you'll
the
be
pink one, the
acquiring
white
them
one, and the green
through,
one.
other
And then I saw a
animals,
Kirby amiibo,
or, when you
and I've never
acquire a
seen
new
those around
item,
me. That
that's something
GameStop is
that,
the only
like,
place to get
that
amiibos.
you'll also be able to
So
acquire.
anyway, since
Or,
Smash
you'll
came
also
out,
be able to buy them at stores as well.
they didn't really say it,
interesting
but
how that's
they've
really gonna
been
mix up players'
reproducing
experiences,
waves of
depending on
amiibo,
how
and it
you and
seems
maybe a
like
friend of yours
it's
has
just a
experienced in
backdoor
Wi-Fi on your island and
moneymaker
what
for them. They're
activities
not
you've been
really
doing. You might
utilizing
have
it
quite a
much
different
anymore,
collection of
but they
recipes at your
haven't gone
disposal.
completely
So then when
extinct.
you
They
have a
still
chance to
sell
get together
them.
and play
You can
together,
still
it
get them
might be, oh,
online,
you know, by the way,
etc.,
what have you been
etc.,
making? What
and they
did
still
I
make
find?
money
This is how
from
I got
them.
this recipe. But it's a nice way
I
to
almost think
kind
they'll
of
keep
share that
doing
knowledge
that
and
for the
information
next
as you
10
play.
years, just because
えー
it's
と
free
そうですね
money.
まあ今日
At
あ
this
の
point, the
お店
rarity
で
of them is
ア
not
ニマル
what they
クロッシン
were.
グ
They're not coming out in these big droves, and they're not selling out. They can just keep making small shipments of whichever and mailing them to here and there and getting them out and making,
So,
you know, their
you
chunk
can
of
see
money
we've,
off it, just
shown
kind
you
of
some the
in the
gameplay
background
of New
while all the other
Horizons.
gears
And then you may
turn.
think that a lot of this is close to being done, and yet there's a lot of elements that we still want to work on.
2020年3月20日の、発売日に向けて我々スタッフ一同頑張ってますのでもう少しだけお時間をください。
So I'm sorry to ask, but if you would let us work a little bit longer and release this game on March 20th, 2020, we would
sorry to
very much
ask.
appreciate it.
Well, I can certainly say based
That's
on the
a
experience
demand.
I've had
That's
having a
not
great time
even
with this game in the
asking.
office,
They
is
don't want our
very much
permission.
worth the wait. So I know,
Right.
folks, if you're fans of the game, it's hard
They
to be
say,
patient,
you know,
but
please bear
it's
with
coming
us
together
while
so beautifully.
we,
I think
you
the
know,
hardest thing for me right now is working on
kind
the
of
game.
screwed
I'm just ready
it
to get
up
my
and
island,
promised
but
something that we
it'll
couldn't
be
deliver.
soon. And Kyogo-san, do you have any final
Which I would
thoughts that you'd
think for
like to share with our
Nintendo,
viewers as
they
well as
would
we
have
wrap
just
up?
hired
はい
more people to get it
今
out
回
in
この新
time.
しい無人島という舞台で長くこの動物の森を楽しんでいただけるように
Like, I
もう
feel a
少し
little
お時
bit
間いただくんですけ
half-shafted
ども楽しんでいただけるよう
because
な
of
お
how
作りに
big this
引き
game
続き
sells,
開
and I'm
発頑
surprised
張っ
they
てい
didn't
きま
just
すの
push
で
it out the
もう少し
door.
お待ちいただければと思います
But they obviously
So,
spent way too
we'll
much
be
time
asking
on
you for a
Pocket
little bit more
Camp.
time in order for us to have
And
you
maybe
enjoy
Amiibo
this
Festival.
dessert, life on an island for a very, very long time. So we're all working hard to release this game. So thank you very much for your understanding.
Yeah, but in the meantime, if you wanted to hang out with some of your Animal Crossing friends, you could check out Animal Crossing Pocket Camp on smart devices. It's free to download,
shut up.
And there's a lot of stuff that's been added
That's
to
been
that
it
game
for the
since,
Treehouse
we
of Animal
released it.
Crossing.
So
I'm
please check
D-Dub.
that out.
Hit the thumbs
But
up.
that's all the
Subscribe
time
if
we
you're
have
new. If you
for
like Animal
today for
Crossing,
Animal
let me know what you
Crossing
like
New
about
Horizons.
it,
Thank you
and
so
I'll
much,
see you guys in
Sam,
the next
Kyogo-san.
video.
No